Hey folks, my name's Ed Trevors. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm an Anglican priest serving in the beautiful parish of St. Margaret of Scotland that sits on the ancestral and on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Gwe. A couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine passed away. His name was Bill. Bill was 105 years old. Bill lived through things that I've only ever read about and lived through a whole lot of other things that I don't know anything about. He was a wonderful man. He was a shipbuilder. He was a community builder. He was tough as nails. He was tough as nails. He was stern. He had really high expectations. He's the only person that I've ever worked with since being a priest who looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You are a dumbass." And he had another word that he applied before dumbass. Him and I were working on my kayak. I had this sea kayak that was leaking. It was taking on water. And so I asked Bill, because he was a shipbuilder, to come up and help me with it. Well, Bill made the mistake, and it was his mistake, not mine. He made the mistake of leaving me alone with a chisel and a flathead screw. And I thought, well, I could use this chisel to loosen this flathead screw. Anybody out there that's ever tried to use a chisel to remove a flathead screw knows that they don't stay in place terribly well. They often slip. And this one slipped and sliced me right across the palm of my hand. When Bill came back and saw the handiwork of the chisel that he mistakenly left in my care, that's when he called me a dumbass. Anyhow, what I really wanted to tell you about Bill had nothing to do with how he cursed me out one day because I bloodied his chisel. See, Bill was really essential for me and my family. He was a congregant of the church that I served at in Shelburne, a long-time parishioner of that church, a long-time leader of that church. By the time we got there, Bill had sort of stepped back from it. But he was still vibrant. He was still incredibly active. He was still continuously on the go. I think the man drove from Meals on Wheels until he was like 99. Bill, he really took my son, my oldest son, Cam, under his wings. See, when we got to Shelburne, Cam was only in grade 3 or 4. And we were pretty far from home, and Cam was far from his grandparents, and we were far from any family. And then Bill came along and started working with Cam, getting Cam to cut the grass at his house or help him shovel a driveway or doing little odd jobs. Cam really appreciated the time he spent with Bill because Bill was willing to talk to him and share with him about his life. Bill was willing to tell Cam about what it was like being on a Canadian destroyer during the Second World War. Bill was willing to talk to Cam about what it was like to be a shipbuilder as things transitioned from wood to fiberglass. Bill was willing to talk to Cam about how to use certain tools and to help Cam do these little projects that he loved to do. Now, I've tried to thank Bill for this many times, and every time I've approached him with it, "Oh gosh, that was nothing, stop being a dumbass." But he never said that, but it was that kind of mentality. "Oh, it was nothing, it's no big deal, it's no big deal, it's no big deal." But it was a huge deal to me. It was an absolute huge deal to me, and I think it was a huge deal for Cam. I think it really helped to form him. I think it really helped him to become the person he's going to be. We often don't realize how special our gifts are. We minimize them. Maybe it's because we've always had them. Maybe it's because nobody's ever told us that they were valuable before. Maybe it's because we wouldn't value them if we saw them in someone else. But our gifts are really important. And they don't have to be like, superpowers. They don't have to be things like, well, I can move a mountain, or I can do these great, big, huge, massive, amazing, marvelous, wonderful, miraculous things. Maybe it's just, I can sit and talk. Maybe it's, I'm willing to take a young person under my wing. Maybe it's, I'm willing to write thank you notes of encouragement. Maybe it's I'm willing to send birthday cards. These are all things that people that I've encountered in the church have been able to do, and they're all things that those people that I've encountered in the church who are able to do these things have all dismissed when I've told them what a wonderful thing it is that they offer. Another lady in Shelburne, I've talked about her here before, Marg. One of the things, I remember very specifically having a conversation about this youth group that we had. We had like 60, 70, 80 kids showing up on Friday nights sometime. It was way too much for me to handle. And so I reached out to the congregation and said, I need some help. And Marg came along and said, well, I might be able to do the dishes for you. And I said, great, do the dishes. Because she did the dishes, it freed me up to do a whole bunch of other things. But that wasn't where it ended with Marg. Marg took over the kitchen. And soon she was with other people in the community. She was chopping vegetables and preparing the snacks and getting cups and juice and water ready for everybody. And soon she was talking to the kids on a regular basis and had kids in the kitchen with her while she was preparing this stuff, helping them learn what it was. That one little gift of hers, that one little thing that she thought she could do, even though it wouldn't mean anything to anybody, that one thing that she minimized, that one gift, it grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. And it was so important to the ministry. It was so important to the ministry. It was so important to the lives of those kids. Those kids never forgot Mark. My son will never forget Bill. It isn't because they did miraculous things. It's because they did what they could. And that was enough. So for all of us, let's keep that in mind. We don't have to move mountains. We don't have to divert rivers. We don't have to bring down thunder and lightning from above. We don't have to be the slayer of many men. Just be yourself. Just offer yourself into the moments as they appear. Take the opportunities that come to you and bring whatever it is you can into those moments, even though it may feel absolutely minuscule, even though it may feel pointless. Someone out there will be impacted in miraculous ways by that little thing you bring. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. I pray that we would all be so courageous to bring forward even the tiniest of our gifts. The world will appreciate it. The world will be thankful and grateful for it. I pray that we will be bold enough, brave enough, strong enough to offer it. Amen. Nemultus.